Hello everybody. Those of you who enjoyed the Canning Stock Route series are really going to enjoy this. The challenge of the Canning was that I had set off to film my normal show. I talk about the horizons and the beautiful sounds and the beautiful birds, and then things started getting silly. And I realized quite early on that this was going to be something different. Some people, and by far the minority of viewers, didn't get the humor, and many people accused it of being forced. It was not forced. It was so not forced. It was so organic. And that is why I kind of shot two films. I edited the Canning Stock as a story of 4, then 5 friends just enjoying this incredible place and trying to get this really old vehicle to successfully cover the route. And you have enjoyed the show. But I continued shooting as if this was a normal show. So this bloopers tape, if you want to call it that, is those bits that didn't end up in the original show. So you'll all enjoy it. Even those of you who didn't particularly enjoy the humour, you'll enjoy this because it's me in my natural habitat. Established in 1996, 4X Overland is the world's first global overland expedition channel. Join us as we explore the world by 4-wheel drive. Right, I am just trying to form some words in my mouth before I speak. There's the car, there's the grain silo. This is a kind of an abandoned town, and this was our meeting point for the convoy this morning. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. We all decided that we would come our different ways separately and we would all arrive here, but the place is abandoned. We thought we would be able to get some coffee or something, or even fuel, but nothing here. So and up to this point it's been a lot of stress, a lot of tension, because so much to do. I've had to actually prepare 2 vehicles, and I'm very happy with what I've done here. I know the Range Rover is running well, and so I'm now waiting for them, and I'm the first to have arrived. So we are now embarking on, this is the biggest trip for me for a good 4 to 5 years, and it's a big one. And I welcome you on our little trip. Starting to get really, really excited, because while I'm actually preparing the vehicles, we've done so much work. I have this feeling of excitement about the trip, and tension and stress, and then excitement about the trip, and the excitement only really happens for me once I'm on the road. That's Heiner. I recognize his car. We're finally on the road.
Finally.
Finally on the road.
It's only been 7 or 8 years for me to wait for this. All it's missing now.
I hate it, I must tell you.
Yeah, I hope you would.
I'm thinking of the color spectrum. There is no color worse than that.
That's what I thought. I thought, like, most terrible
well done,
color.
if that was your intention.
And I was neon pink.
Green anything would have been better.
Yeah.
Anything.
It's good. I'm glad we got the right color.
Well, at least you'll see it coming in the dark.
Yeah.
So I see it's down at the back very slightly.
But there is a bit of stuff in there.
Yeah, but once we've got 200 litres additional fuel, we've probably made the right choice with the springs. They're not too heavy.
Oh, no, it feels. It's driving nice.
Is the tank already full?
No.
Oh.
No.
I think we found it.
You think you found it?
There's oil on the side of the intercooler pipe. It looks like that rattled loose. So you can see here.
Yeah.
Where the intercooler is connected to the turbocharger, there's a bit of oil there and dirt stuck to it, so there's probably a bit of a leak there. Okay. And then under full pressure up the hill, it probably throws the fault code.
How's the Range Rover going? It's fine, not a problem.
I thought it wasn't getting hot.
Yeah, it doesn't get hot.
Oh, that's
a good thing.
No.
So not hot at all?
No.
Just cold?
It just, every now and then it goes, yeah.
Okay, so it's
There you
electric.
go. It's just letting you know.
Yeah.
Some of you may be saying, oh, the Range Rover, it keeps giving you trouble. Well, it's not breaking down. These are minor little things, small electrical fault, which was sorted just by a loose plug, but we had to diagnose it to get to the point where it was loose plug. Hadn't stopped the vehicle. This morning's fault with the shock absorber was purely a matter of, well, whoever fitted the shock absorbers didn't do a good job and didn't put in a very important washer. So the car itself is running well this morning. It's well over 30 degrees outside, and oil temperatures are down, water temperatures down. Everything's good. Everything is looking good. So yeah.
One of the truckies just contacted me. They've hit a kangaroo about 10 k's down from one of the turn-offs for one of the stations. Got 2 broken legs. They've asked if we can put it out.
So what are you saying? There's a kangaroo that needs to be put out of its misery? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, about 10 k's down the track from one of the station turn-offs just before it. Just after 10 k's down the track here. They've got 2 broken legs. They've hit it, but it's not actually dead. They said we can put it out if we've got something for that. So they said, yeah, we'll have a look at it if we can find it.
Do you have something for that?
I sure do.
All right. How will I know when we see the turn-off?
I think there's a station coming up. There should be a sign, and it's about 10 k's down the track. So just keep your eyes out. It should be on the opposite side of the road. On the side, if there's a kangaroo there, just have a look. So if you see one, we'll pull over, and I'll have to shoot it.
This kind of thing is just a thing that happens in Australia. John is a licensed firearm owner. You know, I actually carry a very large blade in my car for such an eventuality, and I've never actually had to use it, but I actually have the blade in my car because I was in a convoy once, and a small antelope, exactly the same as this kangaroo, hit by a vehicle, broken leg. It was suffering terribly, and I had no means to put it out of its misery. So, yeah, so we've done that. Poor thing. Anyway, it's one of the facts of driving in Australia. It's kangaroos are suicidal. They run out, particularly early morning, late afternoon. They run. They see car lights at night, and they run to the lights. Distances in Australia are extraordinary. This piece of road is about just a little under 1,000 kilometers long, and on the road there's only one. Well, there's a town in the middle, tiny town, and about the same size tiny town at the end, with a few Aboriginal communities. But the fuel, most of the time when we're stopping to get fuel, it's actually not at the towns at all. It's at roadhouses, and the roadhouses are there to support the motorist. But normally, in most countries, you'll drive 300, 400, 500 kilometers or so, rarely more than 500 kilometers, very rarely more, and there'll be a town and you'll get supplies and fuel. Here, not at all. Roadhouses, and some of the roadhouses are quite busy, particularly now since COVID. So many more people are now driving Australia's rural roads, and I think from what I can see, by comparison to previous years, the roadhouses are doing a very good trade, good business. Lots and lots of travellers, very busy petrol stations. The track that we're about to get onto is another example of distances in Australia where there are no facilities whatsoever. Nothing. Zero. And when I say zero, nothing, I'm saying that in the truest sense of the word, and for me that is what makes them so thrilling to drive on. This then is the satellite tracker that sends a signal to a satellite at intervals that I set on the app on my phone, and our location is placed live. In fact, you can actually have a look at that. There's a list of routes that we've taken since 2018. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn it on, and from this point, this particular track, it's called Canning Stock 2022, and I'm going to tell it to send its first position point from now, and it will then do it automatically, and I've set it to do send a signal every 3 hours. There you go, it's running. This tree is kind of symbolic of the area. Everybody stops here and take the picture next to the baobab tree, just like I did in 2017. I think I did it again in 2018 when I visited the Kimberley. That's the tree. From here.
Is this where you attached the dildo?
Is that the first thing that came to your mind? That would be used for a dildo?
Well, knowing you. Yeah, because it's
probably
me, big black.
Well, no, I'd wrap it.
It's always in case you rear end somebody.
Yeah.
Arrived at camp quite late last night. Well, late by my standards. I generally like to arrive in daylight hours, but because we're pushing, just getting distance, and from now we can actually start slowing down. It was about 7:30 or so, and made a meal, and we're camped not far off the Fitzroy River. Today we're heading to the official start of the Canning Stock route, which is at Halls Creek.
It's usually not filming.
While it's busy with that, I've stopped doing product reviews. I'm going to do a short one now. It's called a Thermacell. It's a gas operated mosquito repeller. And there's the pad in there. It's gone white because it's exhausted, and they say that, well, if it's white then it is exhausted. So that lasted one night. How many hours? 3 tops, and it's exhausted. I had this on the gas bottle. You fit it on a gas bottle. I had this on my lap. There was very little, there was a tiny bit of wind, but not a lot of wind. I had it on my lap, and while this was on my lap and I could smell it, the mosquitoes were biting my ears. That's a wasted $68. Really? Pointless. So we've discovered that, in fact, the nut hadn't come off at all. The nut had been put on without a washer, so the nut drove itself through the rubber, and the end of the shock came off. So don't blame the car, blame the person that put on the shock absorber.
Might need a hammer. Push that rubber up. Need to get a hammer.
A hammer.
Just make sure you're comfortable there in the meantime, Johnny.
Yeah, it's right. It's not too bad.
Easy. I mean, anybody think he was on holiday?
Did someone bring me one of the crawlers so I could roll it out?
I think a bit further down the track there's a mechanics well, if you want to use that.
Oh, did someone dig out a pit?
Yeah.
So I can work under the car nicely. You want to find a bigger one?
Well, that was the one I found. I don't know how many you got in there.
I got 2.
Well.
I can't believe they don't have like a pin going through the bottom of the bolt to stop that happening.
That's why they usually use nylock nuts. You just have to tighten them.
It is a nylock, but
Yeah, but you just, that was probably only hand tied on there.
yeah.
Yeah, they didn't tighten it properly. Heiner just told me to fuck off.
Yeah, because you were about to show me something. What have you got in your hand, Andrew? The other way around?
You got bamboozled into that one.
Oh, good morning. We're actually a day behind, but really who cares? This is not a race. We had such a brilliant day yesterday, exploring this area, photographing it, and we had a nice meal, took our time, no big rush. But today we will actually get to Halls Creek, and then we will brim all water tanks, all fuel tanks, and then we'll be setting off on the Canning. And this wind, yeah, it's quite strong, and it could very well mean a front coming through, which is, I was going to say unusual for this time of year, but you know the weather now, for this time of year just doesn't count anymore because it just is changing so much. But if it brings rain, little bit of a worry on the salt flats of the Canning, that we'll see. Right. This is a good news. I can't remember how many days we've been away. That to me is a sign that I'm on a magic trip. That was night 4. This will be night 5. We are running a little bit late, but night 5 will be on the Canning. It'll be on the route. We go past Halls Creek. We've got to make some last minute phone calls to find out condition of the track, particularly worried about it down south. But we are going to be starting the Canning stock route today.
No answer, it's only an answering machine there.
So the thing is that when we get to Kurraweegi, because there's not many people on the track, we won't be able to get kind of, you know, what's the track like behind you for those people coming north. We won't.
Yeah.
I'm reckoning we won't be able to do that.
Maybe we see people on the track and can ask them about the condition.
But
maybe.
Same thing.
If there are
How
any.
many are we going to see? I don't think that many, but whatever we do see, we can ask. Yeah.
Yeah. So we just have to chance it from here on then, eh? If we, I mean, I tried to call the communities again, but if we can't get them on the phone, we can't get them on the phone then. We also, do we order fuel or don't we order fuel through Harry? Or do we?
You've got your chap at Kurraweegi.
Yeah, I tried to get in touch with him, but I can't.
You can't now. You tried now.
Yeah.
I've got a sat phone. We can continue trying.
But then, and then we can call Harry from the set phone as well, just in case.
If necessary.
Yeah, okay. Okay, cool. That will do.
Prepping my sun reflection device.
Yeah. On that metal thing.
Yep. Okay. That's been killing me all the way.
I was only copying the new Range Rover, you know, Range Rover Sport.
Yeah.
It's got silver strips all over the dashboard, and actually when I had one for a while, I kept on having to put cloths on the dashboard to stop the sun reflecting into my eyes. So I'm only just trying to follow the trend. You know. Don't. Alright, good. Well, it would make one last phone call, no success. We're trying to get hold of some of the officials that run the Canning stock route. Because the permit system is about to open. So apparently it's not open yet, and we thought, well, maybe it opened on our 4 days on our way up here, we would just buy permits if it had opened, but it hasn't opened. So we'll go. Okay, Heiner's on the phone now. Let's see what he has to say.
Oh, sorry, you said when are you open on a Saturday on the morning? 9 till 12 on a Saturday, and apart from that, it's 8 to 12 and then 2 to 4 during weekdays. Ah, brilliant. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Nah, that's cool. We didn't expect you to. If push comes to shove, we can just camp outside town somewhere. But you said after the 15th, it's not a problem anyway, right? Again, sorry? Joe. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Joe. And my name is Heiner.
Right. Should we hit it?
Yeah.
You want to get to another store? We'll follow you down there. Go ahead, we'll follow you and So that is great news, very, very good news, very exciting. Means we have an extra approximately 140 kilometers that we have to do because we cannot get fuel at Villaluna, which is on the route. So that makes this part of the route the longest in terms of fuel. And of all the cars that I'm worried about the most is this one. It's using far more fuel than I expected to, far more fuel than my Green Trip carrier by about 2.5 to 3 litres per 100 kilometres, and that kind of, yeah, it's a bit of a worry. I'm more worried about this than I am about the Range Rover. You know, the effort that goes into a trip like this, for me personally, it's significant. Time, effort, also mental space, massive mental space. Particularly with this trip, because 2 vehicles. But I must say the guys are making my life easier. We're helping, and Heine's shooting extra stuff, which is fantastic. So is Rob and John taking out their cell phones, grabbing stuff, grabbing moments. It's fantastic. It does ease my job a lot. But I have to remind myself when doing all the planning and the work that goes into it, I have to remind myself this is why I do it. What is happening at this very moment now. It's so important for us. I find it difficult, and I think many people are like me. We find it difficult to live in the moment. To actually say, well, this now is what we've been working for, and you know, and man, this beautiful country, and yeah, so it's fantastic. It's difficult to share that moment. Just a shot through the windscreen, or because it's an emotion. So I try and do it with a piece of music. I'm not listening to music in my car at the moment. I want to hear that. I even want to hear that very annoying rattle that I have in the back. It's okay. It's part of it. The window is open.
I feel like I'm in Africa, even though I got no fucking idea what Africa's like.
See, he's feeling the same way.
Just keep an eye out for the rampant elephants. Yeah, especially you. You look a lot like a rhino this morning.
The wind's terrible. So, let's say it again.
Gentlemen, we are on the Kenningstock route. Congratulations all around. From here on it's going to be 4,800 kilometers. Very nice.
To leave the children behind and go and good flat area amongst the trees over there. Really nice. This is Stretch Lagoon. The water level's a little lower than I remember it, but in the morning the bird life here is beyond fantastic. So I'm looking forward, tomorrow morning will be epic here. When I was here in 2017, we were stopping exactly like this. And while we were here, several other people arrived down the track, most from the south. And of course now, there's nobody. It's very obvious to me. It's either that way to intersect the road, or it's that way to intersect the road, because according to the GPS, there should be another road .
He's got his driving gloves on, I see. Do the job.
Fuel injectors are right there.
Hello, are you working? I'm glad you're working. I'm talking to the camera, not to you. viewing, because I have an apology to make. Anyway, good morning. We are really remote, really remote. First half of yesterday, we did 100 kilometers in, I don't know, 4 hours, and then we did about 25. In the last 4 hours of the day. So going became incredibly slow. And we're hoping that the bush starts to clear a little bit more and we can get a little bit more speed. But anyway, we're heading south. I am still worried about fuel consumption of the troop carrier, but we do have some reserve. And anyway, we're heading further south today. The apology I have to make is for a piece of camera equipment that failed. And in the previous parts of this show, this event, you would have noticed some severe wind noise from one of our cameras. Turns out the camera microphone connection failed, and it was only when I watched some footage and then did a few tests with 2 different microphones, discovered that that camera is now broken. It was only using its internal microphone, which of course the quality is terrible and there's no wind protection at all. And as you can see, it's windy, very, very windy, quite cold this morning. On we go. As a result of that, instead of me being able to wield that light camera, easy to hold for all my go-to shots, I have to now use this camera, stretch my arm out, but there's a trouble with it, is that it's a little bit heavier. So in future, all my go-to shots are going to be like this. I actually have in my possession a set of Range Rover keys. I've got the spares.
So you don't have to pry them out of his cold dead hands.
Have you noticed where I'm setting the swag off each night? Right against the door. Just in case.
And it's fine because the door doesn't work anyway, so...
Yeah.
We've got to fix that one tonight.
So if I feel myself getting dragged away in the middle of the night, I know it's Andrew. I've got a cunning plan. That was fun.
Yeah, that was good fun.
That was great fun. Great fun. Let's go and set up camp. I need to do a little bit of filming and a little bit of house cleaning.
A little bit of filming, you know, much.
Yeah, you know. That's why I'm here, isn't I?
In it.
That's why I'm here, isn't it? Yeah. Is that thing rolling there?
Yeah.
It's rolling?
In it.
Oh,
In it. In it. We need to have a cup of tea.
Bruh.
Bruh.
You're going to make tea now?
Yeah, cup of tea and biscuits.
You're going to make a cup of tea?
Cup of tea biscuits?
Yes, biscuits, thank you.
Nice.
Yes.
Don't have any scones.
Tea.
Oh wow. A bird has made, an enormous eagle has made a nest under my car overnight. How's that possible? Bloody hell. What we've seen here is, I think, quite interesting. The reason why the Range Rover, actually there are a few problems with the Range Rover. The door's sticking, it needs some lubricant. All of the things are just small things. There's virtually no grass or bushes caught underneath, because underneath it's not crowded full of components. This is the troop carrier is about as basic four-wheel drive as you can currently get on the market. And yet I'm having a lot of challenges with grass getting caught underneath because of the tight proximity of all of the components. There are small gaps where the grass can wedge in place. And those small gaps are caused, in this case, almost entirely by the exhaust pipe, which is huge because it has the DPF. And so these other vehicles are because of that, also far less well suited to this kind of travel because of the complexity of their designs. And the complexity of the designs is largely, not altogether, but largely as a result of legislation. So the more modern vehicles get, the less suited they become to this kind of travel. And that's been the trend. And if I think about vehicles Ineos Grenadier coming up, for example, which is a modern incarnation of a basic concept, such as this. There's no space under there. It is crammed, and it doesn't have air suspension. It doesn't have a lot of the electronics found in so many vehicles that are even more crowded. But looking underneath that Grenadier, there's no space for even the eagle to nest underneath there.
So you got your house scooping done?
That's pretty much it, yeah. It's quicker than vacuuming.
Thank you so much for watching. These videos are made possible by contributions from Patreons. Join our Patreon family now.